You might be feeling a strange, heavy mix of emotions right now. Perhaps you just found out that another person has finally walked away from them. Maybe you have noticed a clear pattern of failed relationships, lost opportunities, or broken connections surrounding the narcissist in your life. Or perhaps, most importantly, you are the one who just closed the door, and you are sitting with the deep, exhausting aftermath of that decision. It is completely normal to feel confused in this moment. You might be asking yourself why this keeps happening, or wondering if you somehow missed a crucial sign, or even feeling a lingering, unwarranted sense of guilt for stepping away. Take a slow, deep breath. That exhaustion you feel is real and valid. It is the physical and mental weight of carrying a dynamic that was never designed to be balanced. You are not crazy for feeling drained. You are not overreacting to normal relationship struggles. You are simply waking up to a reality that has been deliberately hidden from you for a long time. The very first thing you need to understand and truly internalize is that you were not the problem. The confusion, anxiety, and pain you experienced were not the result of your failures, your inadequacies, or your lack of effort. They were the direct, predictable result of a deeply imbalanced dynamic. In a healthy relationship, there is mutual respect, shared responsibility, and a genuine desire for both people to thrive and feel safe. What you experienced was the exact opposite. It was a system carefully designed to extract your energy, your empathy, and your stability to sustain someone else's fragile, artificial sense of self. You did not break the relationship. The foundation was fundamentally flawed from the very beginning. Recognizing this is not about assigning blame in a bitter way. It is simply about stating an objective psychological fact. You were operating in good faith, using the normal rules of human connection. They were operating from a place of profound emotional limitation. And good, empathetic people are often the primary targets for that kind of exploitation. To understand why another door just closed on them, we have to look at the core psychological mechanism driving their behavior. At the very heart of narcissistic behavior is a deep, unspoken fear of insignificance and a desperate, relentless need for control. Because they cannot generate a stable, authentic sense of self-worth from within, they rely entirely on external validation to feel alive. This is often referred to in psychology as narcissistic supply. Think of the people in their life not as equal partners or genuine friends, but as open doors. These doors provide continuous access to attention, admiration, resources, and emotional regulation. As long as these doors remain open, they can maintain the illusion that they are powerful, lovable, and completely in control of their environment. But this illusion is incredibly fragile. It requires constant, exhausting maintenance, and it absolutely requires the people on the other side of those doors to remain unaware of the manipulation. When a door closes, whether it is a partner leaving, a friend setting a boundary, or a professional consequence catching up to them, that illusion is threatened. The narcissist does not view this as a natural consequence of their actions. They view it as a personal attack, a theft of their supply, or a betrayal. This is why the closing of a door is never met with genuine reflection or accountability. Instead, it triggers a very specific, repetitive set of behaviors. Understanding these behaviors is the key to unlocking your own clarity and freeing yourself from the confusion they have caused. Let us look at the first part of this pattern, the gradual, systematic burning of bridges. In the beginning, The narcissist is often incredibly charming, highly attentive, and seemingly perfect. They mirror your deepest desires, making you feel uniquely understood. This is the phase where they secure access to you. But once that access is guaranteed, the dynamic inevitably shifts. The charm fades, and a subtle devaluation begins. This happens because, to them, people are not complex humans with valid needs. People are viewed as objects to be used for a specific purpose. When an object no longer serves its purpose or asserts independence, the narcissist discards it. They might become critical, dismissive, or emotionally absent. This behavior is not a reaction to anything you did wrong. It is a mechanical response to their inability to sustain genuine intimacy. For you, this shift was devastating. It made you feel replaceable, leading you to try harder, apologize for things you did not do, and shrink yourself to keep the peace. You were trying to fix a problem that was never yours to fix, hoping the initial version of them would return. But that version was a tool used to gain access. The second part of this pattern is what happens when a door actually closes. When someone leaves, or a consequence catches up to them, the narcissist does not look inward. They cannot tolerate shame or admit fault. Their ego is too fragile. Instead, they engage in aggressive blame shifting. They will rewrite history to make themselves the victim. The person who left is labeled crazy or ungrateful. If they lost a job, the boss was incompetent. If you walked away, they paint you as the villain. Psychologically, this is a rigid defense mechanism. Acknowledging a mistake feels like a catastrophic threat to their existence. They must project that failure outward onto someone else to survive emotionally. The impact this had on you was profound. You likely absorbed their projected guilt, spending countless hours analyzing your own behavior, wondering if you were too sensitive or fundamentally flawed. This creates cognitive dissonance, where your lived experience of their cruelty clashes with their insistence that you are the problem. You carried the emotional weight of their actions, believing that if you could just explain yourself better, they would understand. But you cannot reason with a defense mechanism. You were arguing with a wall, and it slowly drained your spirit. The third part of the pattern is the desperate scramble that follows the loss of access. When a door closes, the narcissist experiences a sharp drop in their supply, triggering primal panic. They are faced with the emotional emptiness they spend their lives running from. In this state, they attempt to reopen the door through calculated manipulation, commonly known as hoovering. They might suddenly become loving and apologetic, promising they have changed. Alternatively, they might use guilt, pity, or veiled threats to force a reaction. They may also triangulate, bringing in a new person to make you feel jealous, hoping to provoke you into re-engaging. This behavior is not born out of love or genuine remorse. It is a tactical maneuver to regain control and restore their supply. For you, this phase was incredibly disorienting. It kept you in a constant state of high alert. Just when you thought you were gaining clarity, they pulled you back into the chaos. It ruthlessly exploited your natural empathy and hope. This cycle of intermittent reinforcement, mixing cruelty with intense charm, is what makes these dynamics so difficult to break, slowly eroding your trust in your own reality. It is vital to pause and reinforce fundamental truths about your experience. The fact that another door has closed on them is not a tragedy. It is a natural, predictable consequence of their behavior. People eventually wake up. Human empathy has limits, and patience runs out. The isolation they experience is not a punishment inflicted by a cruel world. It is the direct result of their own inability to connect authentically or take responsibility. Furthermore, their loss of access has nothing to do with your inherent value. You were not discarded because you were unworthy of love. You were discarded because your growing awareness threatened their carefully constructed illusion. Their pattern of burning bridges is the ultimate proof that the problem was never you. If everyone they encounter eventually becomes a villain, the common denominator is them. You do not need to feel sorry for the consequences they face or carry the burden of their isolation. You only need to recognize that those consequences validate your decision to step away. The pattern is the proof. You do not need to gather more evidence or wait for an apology that will never come. The reality is already clear. As you process this, you will notice a subtle but powerful shift within yourself. This is the transition from confusion to genuine awareness. You are no longer looking at the situation through the distorted lens of your own perceived failures. You are looking at it objectively, from a place of distance and safety. You are recognizing the patterns for what they truly are: a repetitive cycle of idealization, devaluation, and discard. This awareness is your greatest tool for healing. When you understand the mechanics of manipulation, it immediately loses its power over you. You no longer have to guess what they are doing or endlessly analyze why. You can see the entire board clearly. This allows you to step back emotionally. You do not have to engage with their chaos anymore or defend your reality to someone committed to misunderstanding you. Gaining this clarity is a quiet, powerful moment. It is the moment the heavy fog finally lifts. You realize you are not a participant in their drama anymore. You are simply an observer of their reality, entirely free to choose your own path forward. This clarity naturally leads to true empowerment, deeply rooted in firm boundaries and calm detachment. Closing the door on a narcissist is not an act of revenge, anger, or punishment. It is an act of profound self-respect. It is a quiet declaration that your peace is infinitely more valuable than their drama. Setting a boundary does not require a dramatic confrontation or a lengthy explanation. In fact, the most effective boundaries are the quietest. It is the simple decision to no longer answer manipulative texts. It is the choice to block their number without sending a final, angry message. It is the firm refusal to engage in circular arguments designed only to exhaust you. Calm detachment means you no longer invest your precious emotional energy in trying to change them or make them see the truth. You accept that they are who they are, and you consciously remove yourself from the equation. This is not about being cold or vindictive. It is about fiercely protecting your own well-being. You are reclaiming the energy once spent analyzing their behavior and redirecting it toward your own healing. You are building a life where your worth is not determined by someone else's ability to appreciate it. As you consistently maintain these boundaries, you will begin to experience true, lasting healing. Healing from emotional manipulation is not a perfectly linear process, and it requires immense patience and gentleness with yourself. There will be days when you feel incredibly strong, clear, and free. There will also be days when the grief of what you lost resurfaces. That is completely normal. Allow yourself to feel those emotions without judgment. but always remind yourself of the core truth. You are healing from a wound that was not your fault. With time, the heavy, chronic exhaustion will begin to fade. It will be replaced by a quiet, steady, unshakable strength. You will start to trust your own intuition and perception of reality again. You will find genuine joy in simple, peaceful moments, entirely free from walking on eggshells or anticipating the next conflict. You are moving forward, not by forgetting what happened, but by integrating the valuable lessons you have learned. You now know exactly what you will no longer tolerate. You know the immense value of your own peace. Another door has closed on them, and that is their journey to walk and their consequence to face. But for you, a completely new door has opened. It is a door leading to a life of authenticity, deep self-respect, and genuine connection. You have survived the confusion, the manipulation, and the profound exhaustion. You have faced the truth, and you have bravely chosen yourself. That is a profound, undeniable victory. Take a deep breath. Feel the solid, stable ground beneath you. You are safe, you are clear, and you are entirely ready to move forward. Your healing is in your own hands, and your future is yours to build, one peaceful, empowered day at a time.